Hey guys, excuse me. Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Where to start with this one? Okay, so as the title says, I'm going to be giving you some of the best dating advice I have ever received. And this dating advice is really geared towards people who are ready to settle down. You're ready to find the love of your life, the one person you want to spend the rest of your life with. Not somebody who is still like just looking to have fun, looking to hook up, looking to have flings, looking to just go on random dates. Like, if that's the time of the life that you're in and you're not looking to like settle down, then this video is really not for you. Though you can totally watch it. I'm sure you'll take something away from it, and someday you'll be ready to settle down, and maybe you'll want to take my advice and try it. And there's nothing wrong with going through the phase of like wanting to date different people, not wanting to settle down, just wanting to have fun. I went through that. I did that for like, I don't know, was it like 3 years, 4 years, something like that. And I just had a blast and just had fun. But this advice is a piece of advice that I got when I was about 15. And when I finally decided to sit down and evaluate my life and the direction it was going in, and I decided that it was time for me to find a spouse. I decided that I wanted to get married. I just felt like it was time. I implemented this advice, and it really, really worked. And the piece of advice that I got was to sit down and think about what you want in a spouse and write it out. Of course, you have to be flexible. Don't have super high expectations that nobody can reach. Keep in mind that you yourself needs to be somebody that is ready for marriage, that has something to offer. So don't expect your spouse to have a job and you don't have one. Or don't expect your potential spouse to have a car but you don't have one. Like, you kind of have to, you need to be willing to work on yourself if you don't have these things. And I'm not saying that if you don't have a car, you don't have a job, that like you shouldn't want a significant other with a job and a car. I mean, those are good things, attributes that somebody should have. But you need to be working on yourself to get yourself in that position to have something to offer a relationship. Just being in a good place in your life that you have something to offer somebody as well, so that it's not just you looking to gain. It has to be a two-way street. So some things that I listed on my requirements were I wanted them to have a job. I was done dealing with bums. I wanted them to have a driver's license and their own car, because again, I was done dealing with bums. I was tired of being the one having to drive and do all that fun stuff. I wanted them to be drug-free. I didn't want them to be a smoker. And I know some people, like, that doesn't bother you. Like, or maybe you are a smoker and you'd like to have a partner that smokes with you. That's fine. I have asthma and allergies, so it would be horrible for me to spend the rest of my life with somebody that's a smoker and I'm just constantly sick. And I had been dating guys that I really liked and met most of my requirements, but they smoked cigarettes. And so I couldn't be, like, in an enclosed space with them for a very long period of time, or I would start getting like all kinds of congested and my chest would start like getting tight and closing, and like those were just not the kind of people that I needed to be with because of health reasons. Also, don't ever expect someone to change. Like, don't get with somebody that has like all of your requirements except for one, and then be like, oh, they'll change. Because you shouldn't date somebody expecting them to change for you. It's okay to have like requirements that are flexible, that aren't like a super big deal to you. Maybe you would prefer them not to be a smoker, but you're not like super sensitive to it and it's not going to be a deal breaker for you. That's cool to have things you're flexible with. But I myself, I mean, that was one of the things I just couldn't be flexible on. And I just, like, decided that I would not date anybody seriously unless they met all of my requirements, which I had several more. I wanted my political views to meet up with theirs, because I'm a Republican and I've dated some Democrats, And politics just became something we couldn't discuss because we couldn't agree on. And that can cause friction in a relationship. Of course, job situation, or at least them being in college working towards getting a job. Car, driver's license, drug-free, smoke-free. I wanted them to have a good family. And this was one of those things that I wanted them to have, but it wasn't like a deal breaker. But I had dated enough guys that came from broken homes, and they just all seemed to have some sort of issues. And I was always like kind of stuck dealing with these issues. So, I mean, it wasn't like massive big things, but a lot of times they would be like extremely clingy and like, I don't want to say they had mommy issues, but they were like up my butt. And it's like, whoa, dude, it's cool to have some space. And so I really wanted to find somebody that came from a good home with good parents that were hopefully still together and that had good raising and good upbringing. I wanted somebody with morals, preferably somebody that grew up in a Christian church. I am not super religious. I did grow up in a Christian church though, and I do feel that there are good morals and values that you can learn from growing up in church. And I felt at the time that if I dated somebody who grew up in a Christian church, whether if they're still a practicing Christian or not, they would have taken away good moral values, and they would like mesh up with mine, which turned out to be, it worked out. And like I said, I wouldn't date anybody unless they met the most important criteria on my list, which it was hard. I mean, there were some guys that I really liked that were great people, but they didn't meet all of my like requirements. And so I would go on a date or two with them, get to know them, and then I'd find out, okay, so you don't have a job, sorry, or you don't have a car and you're not trying to get one, or you're a smoker. That was the big one. I kept finding guys who were smokers. And I'm, sorry, we can't go any further than this. And that was hard. I don't like hurting people's feelings, but I knew what I wanted in my life. And I felt like that was the time for me to be selfish. I mean, I'm young, and I mean, I was even younger then. You're talking like 2 years ago, almost 3 years ago now. And I felt like I could be picky, and I could pick and choose like what kind of man I wanted to marry and be with. And it worked out. I mean, I found my husband. It took about 10 months because I really sat down and evaluated my life and my dating decisions in January. And though I went on dates between January and October, I didn't meet my husband until October. And we just hit it off. And he just, bam, everything on my list, even down to the superficial things that I had written out when I was 15 and I did this. Keep in mind, like, I wrote this list out when I was 15, okay? And then in January of a couple years ago, when I went back through and like reevaluated everything, I did it in a more adult way. But even the stuff that I had on there at 15, like I wanted them to be tall and blue eyes and like not super skinny but not like super fat, and just like all the superficial stuff. Like he hit it, every single one, except for the tattoos. He doesn't have any tattoos. And at 15, I thought tattoos were like the hottest thing in the world. So he'll still make fun of me sometimes, like when I'll say, oh, you're everything I've ever wanted. And he's like, except for I don't have tattoos. Well, no, you don't. But that's okay, because that's not a big deal. But it worked. I mean, and our relationship is just, I can't tell you how good and strong our relationship is. And a lot of it comes down to the fact that we mesh. I mean, we're everything each other ever wanted. And I really credit this to sitting down and evaluating what I wanted out of my life. I see a lot of people out there who just settle, and they're like, well, I'm never going to find Prince Charming. I'm never going to find everything that I want in a relationship. So I'm just going to marry Joe Schmo, who is a lot of drama, and I like him and all, but he cheats on me. Like, girl, you don't deserve that. Or guy, you don't deserve, whoever's watching this, because this advice can be taken for either sex. You don't deserve to be treated poorly or to be made to feel like you're settling. I mean, if you feel like you're settling, that's not fair to you, and that's not fair to whoever you're dating. So you should just get out of that relationship anyways. But you shouldn't have to settle. You shouldn't have to be with somebody who doesn't make you feel amazing and special and like you're the only one every day of your relationship. And that's what I have with Mike. And I'm just so thankful and so blessed to have him in my life. And he's just amazing. Like, he's literally everything I've ever wanted. And I thank it all to that advice I got. That really good advice to sit down and make a list of everything I wanted in a future spouse, so that I had a sense of direction. I had a sense of what I was looking for. And I didn't feel like I was wasting anybody's time. And I just wanted to get that advice out there. I feel like a lot of people don't know about it. I've talked to a lot of friends who are like, oh, you know, I'm sad because the things didn't work out with my boyfriend. He was doing A, B, C, and D that I didn't like, but I really, really loved him. And I know what it is to fall in love with somebody that you shouldn't be in love with. I know that happens. But you can really save yourself a lot of heartache if you don't let yourself get involved with people that you don't want to be with long term. If they are not the kind of person that you see yourself with in the future, then don't even bother dating them to begin with, because you're only wasting your time and you're wasting their time. So I really urge anyone who's thinking seriously about it being time to settle down and they want to find a serious relationship, to really sit down and think about everything that they want. I mean, because like I was saying a minute ago, when Mike and I found each other, like, things just fell into place with us so quickly. Everything meshed up well. We were literally dating for what was it, 2 or 3 months before I moved in with him, and we were engaged a year later and married 5 months after that. It was like boom, boom, boom. Things just fell into place. And him and I never fight. That's not to say that we don't bicker or have our disagreements, but we never have knockdown, drag out, screaming, matching fights. And a lot of it is just because we mesh. We're just very compatible. And again, that comes down to me having taken time to decide what I wanted in a future spouse. And I highly suggest anybody doing that. Just take some time, go to a quiet space, and sit down and write out everything you want in a future mate. Because you deserve to have everything you want. And, and like I said, you need to be lenient on some things, say you really want to marry somebody with blue eyes, but you find somebody that has everything else on your list, but they have green eyes. You can't be that shallow with things. Or you can't see, I only want to marry somebody that's a millionaire. Well, you're likely not going to find a millionaire. But realistic things you want them to have a job and a car and a driver's license and to be drug-free and to be out of trouble with the law. You don't want somebody that's constantly going away to jail. Somebody who's not a cheater. If somebody is a cheater, if they've cheated on their previous girlfriend or boyfriend, they will likely cheat on you too. Especially if they cheated on their previous significant other with you, and now you guys are a couple, expect to get cheated on, because that's just how that works. It's not to say that it can't work out, but I think it's a very small percentage of relationships like that do work out. Most of the time, if they cheat with you, they will cheat on you. So you don't even deserve that. Don't even get involved in that. And if some guys are hitting on you and you know they got a girlfriend, leave that one alone. You don't need it. I don't care how hot they are. You don't need that. You don't need that drama. You don't need the feelings that will come with that. Oh, just don't even go there. Okay, so that's my piece of advice. This video is starting to get a little bit ranty. If anybody out there wants any other dating advice, trust me, I've got a ton, because I've had lots of different boyfriends, gone on lots of different dates, all that kind of good stuff. So if anybody needs any advice or questions or anything, let me know. Shoot them down in the comments. If you really like this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you really, really liked it, subscribe. And I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.